Long before people dreamed of flying, there was one horse, unlike any the world had ever seen. It had no wings, and yet it could soar above the clouds. Was it magic? Or was there another secret, hidden beneath its silent beauty? No one knew, until one prince dared to ride it. This is the story of the Ebony Horse. Long ago, beyond endless seas of golden sand, there flourished the magnificent kingdom of Persia, a land of splendid palaces, graceful gardens, and timeless beauty. Turquoise domes shimmered beneath the golden morning sun. Marble fountains sang from dawn until dusk. Rose gardens filled the gentle breeze with the fragrance of spring. Tall cypress trees stood like silent guardians along every royal pathway. Merchants arrived from the farthest corners of the world. Their camels carried shimmering silk, precious spices, rare jewels, and wonderful stories from lands beyond the horizon. At the very heart of this magnificent kingdom stood the royal palace, a place where dreams and destiny often met. Every spring, the king welcomed the world's greatest inventors, brilliant scholars, master craftsmen, extraordinary artists. They gathered for one remarkable celebration, the Festival of Wonders. Colorful silk banners danced above the palace courtyard. Musicians filled the air with joyful melodies. Ingenious machines amazed the crowd. Tiny silver birds fluttered from perch to perch. Beautiful clocks chimed in perfect harmony. Children laughed with delight. Every invention seemed impossible. Yet, the greatest wonder had not yet arrived. Among the guests wandered Prince Firouz, the king's only son. Brave, kind, endlessly curious. While other princes practiced swordsmanship, Firouz wandered through workshops. He admired clever minds more than glittering treasure. He loved puzzles, strange machines, impossible inventions. He believed every mystery deserved an answer. As the afternoon sun began to sink toward the western hills, the palace gates slowly opened. An elderly craftsman entered the courtyard. Some whispered they had heard stories about him for years. Others believed he had disappeared long ago. Yet there he stood. His name was Master Azim. His hands bore the marks of 40 years of careful work. He walked slowly, calmly, proudly. Beside him walked a magnificent horse, not flesh and bone, but ebony wood, dark as a moonless night, beautiful enough to make an entire kingdom fall silent. The crowd stared in complete silence. No one spoke. No one moved. Every eye remained fixed upon the magnificent horse. It looked almost alive, yet it was carved entirely from ebony wood. For this very moment, the king slowly stepped down from his throne. He circled the horse with quiet admiration. His fingers brushed across the polished wood. He smiled. "Master Azim, you have created the finest sculpture I have ever seen." The old craftsman bowed respectfully. Then he lifted his eyes. A gentle smile appeared upon his weathered face. "Your Majesty, it is much more than a sculpture." Soft laughter spread through the courtyard. A nobleman chuckled. "A wooden horse?" Another laughed. "Can it run?" Someone else called out, "Can it dance?" Master Azim never answered. Instead, he rested one weathered hand upon the horse's neck. Gently, he reached beneath its neck. Hidden there was a tiny brass key. He closed his eyes. His fingers found the key without hesitation. Slowly, he turned it. Click. Silence. For a single heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, deep inside the horse, hidden gears awakened. A soft humming filled the courtyard. The amber eyes caught the sunlight. The polished wooden chest rose, as though it had taken its very first breath. The courtyard fell silent once again. No one dared breathe. The gentle humming grew stronger. Then, the horse slowly lifted. Just 1 inch. Then another. Without wings. Without ropes. Without the help of any man. Master Azim climbed calmly into the saddle. He gently turned a small brass wheel. The ebony horse rose higher. It glided above the marble fountains. It drifted past the palace balconies. It circled the shimmering turquoise domes. Higher and higher, until it soared above the tallest palace towers. Sunlight danced across its polished ebony body. From below, it looked like a brilliant star crossing the afternoon sky. The entire kingdom watched in silent wonder. Then, as softly as a drifting feather, the horse began its descent. Lower and lower, until its wooden hooves touched the marble courtyard once again. Not a sound. Not a jolt. Only perfect grace. The palace courtyard remained perfectly still. Then, applause erupted from every corner of the royal gardens. Cheers echoed beneath the towering palace walls. The king stepped forward. Wonder filled his eyes. Master Azim. Never have I witnessed such brilliance. The old craftsman bowed his head. His voice was quiet, almost humble. 40 years, Your Majesty. 40 years of carving. 40 years of patience. 40 years of believing that one day it would finally fly. The king nodded with deep admiration. Then your patience has changed history. He raised one hand before the gathered crowd. Name your reward. You have earned it. A gentle breeze drifted through the palace gardens. Every face turned toward Master Azim. The old craftsman remained silent for a moment. Then, he bowed deeply. Your Majesty, there is only one reward I desire. The courtyard grew quiet once more. I ask for the hand of your daughter. The musicians stopped playing. The laughter disappeared. The king's warm smile slowly faded. For several long moments, he said nothing. Then, he gently shook his head. Master Azim, your skill deserves honor. Your invention deserves praise. But my daughter is not a prize. His voice remained calm, kind, respectful. Ask for gold. Ask for jewels. Ask for land. I shall gladly grant any of these, but I cannot grant this request. Master Azim lowered his eyes. As your Majesty wishes. There was no anger in his voice, only quiet disappointment. He rested one hand upon the ebony horse once more, almost lovingly, as though thanking an old companion who had faithfully carried his life's greatest dream. Prince Firouz watched everything in silence. The remarkable machine, the hidden gears, the tiny brass key, the mysterious wheel, every movement, every sound, every secret. Only one question filled his mind. How could a machine fly? The old clockmaker's words returned to him. Curiosity will one day lead you farther than any map. Firouz looked once more at the magnificent horse. Its polished ebony body stood perfectly still. Its amber eyes reflected the evening light. Patient. Silent. Waiting. That evening, as music returned to the palace, and thousands of lanterns glowed beneath the stars, Prince Firouz made a quiet decision. Before the night was over, he would discover the secret of the ebony horse. Night settled gently over the palace. The Festival of Wonders had finally come to an end. Servants retired for the night. The bustling courtyards became still. Yet Prince Firouz could not sleep. Again and again, His thoughts returned to only one thing: the ebony horse. How could it fly? Was it truly a machine? Or had Master Azim hidden something even greater within it? Quietly. So quietly that even the palace guards never noticed. Firouz slipped from his chamber. Moonlight bathed the marble corridors in silver. His footsteps echoed softly through the silent halls. Every shadow seemed to hold another mystery. At last, he reached the royal workshop. There, bathed in pale moonlight, stood the ebony horse, silent, motionless, waiting. Its polished ebony body shimmered beneath the moon. The tiny brass gears gleamed like scattered stars. Firouz slowly walked around it. Every carving was flawless, every curve perfectly balanced. Every brass gear fit together with astonishing precision. Hidden beneath its flowing mane, he discovered a small brass wheel. Behind one ear, a slender silver lever. Beneath its neck, the tiny winding key. He hesitated. His heart beat faster. Only for a moment, he whispered, "I only want to understand how it works." Slowly, he turned the key. Click. Silence. Then, deep inside the horse, the hidden gears awakened once more. A gentle humming filled the quiet workshop. The amber eyes caught the moonlight. Firouz took a slow breath. Then, he climbed carefully into the saddle. For one brief moment, he simply sat there, listening. The mysterious rhythm echoed beneath him. His fingers found the small brass wheel. Very gently, he turned it. Without warning, the ebony horse leaped into the night sky. Firouz gasped. He gripped the saddle with both hands. The palace rooftops disappeared beneath him. The glowing lanterns became tiny golden stars. The cool night wind rushed across his face. Higher and higher, the ebony horse climbed. Faster than any bird. Higher than any eagle. Panic filled Firouz's heart. "Slow down," he cried. But the horse answered only with its steady rhythm. Soon, the palace vanished beneath soft white clouds. The moon shone brightly overhead. Stars surrounded him in every direction. Little by little, his fear began to fade. Wonder took its place. He flew above endless deserts glowing beneath the moon. Silver rivers that shimmered like ribbons. Snow-covered mountains sparkling in the starlight. Ancient forests sleeping peacefully below. Tiny villages glowed like scattered lanterns across the earth. Never had the world looked so beautiful. Hours passed. Slowly, the eastern sky began to glow with the first light of dawn. Far below, Firouz saw a magnificent white palace. It rested within a valley of blooming gardens. Crystal fountains sparkled in the golden morning light. The ebony horse circled gracefully above the palace. Once. Twice. Then, it descended, softly, gently, until its wooden hooves touched the highest rooftop. Firouz climbed down carefully. He looked across the unfamiliar kingdom. Everything was peaceful. Everything was beautiful. Just then, a gentle song floated through the cool morning air. He stepped quietly toward the edge of the rooftop. Below, a young princess walked beside a crystal fountain. White doves fluttered happily around her. She smiled as she scattered tiny handfuls of grain. She had no idea that a prince had just arrived from the sky, and neither of them knew that this single meeting would change not only their lives, but the fate of two kingdoms forever.